Hello and welcome to another 140k Imperial Guard Tactics video. Now before we get into today's video, I would like to say a huge thank you to Joel Robert Sims for sending in some awesome pictures of his Imperial Guard army. The Bannockburn Replenishment Regiment, also known as the Bannockburn Rifles. Absolutely fantastic colour scheme, really like. It can be quite difficult to pull off gold and in general metallic armour for your Imperial Guard, and I think that Joel's managed to do that really well, so thank you for sending these pictures in, Joel. If anyone else has got any cool pictures they want me to use in my videos, please post them on my Facebook page, or you can email them to me, and there will be Facebook page links and emails down in the description below. But without further ado, let's get on with today's video. So for once, guys, I'm not going to have a long, lengthy preamble. I'm going to get straight into this. Inevitably, now I've said it, the video is going on for 20 minutes. But I'm going to try and get right into it and just discuss the awesome topic. And I'm not going to tease you. I'm not going to tease you. I'm teasing you right now. I'm not going to tease you. This is it. Lehman Russes are back on the menu, boys. And you might be saying, Mordian Glory, what have you been doing? Have you been sniffing the super glue again? No, I haven't, actually. It's been taken away from me. I only get paste now. But anyway, I've not been sniffing the glue, because Lehman Russes are back on the menu for one simple reason. Dark Eldar. You might be saying, are you mad? Are you insane? Dark Eldar will eat Lehman Russes for breakfast. Well, young Padawan, Dark Eldar will eat some Lehman Russes for breakfast. But if you bring enough of them, they won't have enough room left for Lehman Russes for dessert or dinner or any of the other meals that they have. What the hell am I talking about? Right. Dark Eldar figures are out. They've done something crazy like put together the results from 1,500. The bean counters have put together the results from like 1,500 games, and Dark Eldar are just smashing it. They've come top in just like all the recent tournaments over the last week. It's been, now that things are opening up and events are happening again, especially in the US, Dark Eldar are taking the thing by storm. But there are a few little blips, shall we say, a few little fly in the soul anguished ointment that the Dark Eldar are using, and those blips are toughness 8 vehicles. One of them is, anyway. In fact, I've done a few videos recently about our guard, the anti-Dark Eldar army, and there's some consensus, there's some consideration that this may be true. It's a bit early days now, but one of the things that Dark Eldar struggle with is the fact that they don't really have any weapons that are over strength 8. So Dark Eldar are like, well, Lehman Russes are like, hello, because Lehman Russes are very cheap toughness 8 armour. You see, a lot of the Dark Eldar firepower relies upon things like Dark Lances on your Raiders. Most Dark Eldar people are turning up to the battle with 6+ Raiders and slapping a Dark Lance on each one and being like, you know what, that's enough anti-tank. Maybe they've got some Heat Lances, maybe they've got some Reaver Jet Bikes, but the point is that they are turning up with a lot of Dark Light weaponry, but the majority of that Dark Light weaponry is one shot, and a lot of it is being used against elite infantry like Marines. Marines are getting carved the F up, because when was the last time you saw a competitive Marine army turn up with any significant amount of armour? And I'm not talking ATVs. No. It's all Gravis armour, this, Primaris, Gravis infantry this, Primaris infantry that. No one's really turning up with, or White Scar Bikers or whatever, or Vanguard Veteran Lightning Claws and whatever. But the point is, no one in the Marine army is turning up with serious armour presence, and so the majority of the Dark Eldar armies are being geared towards taking out elite infantry. But when your main anti-tank weapon only wounds a Lehman Russ on 4s, that's not ideal. Because it's, let me tell you, as someone who, with my Black Templars, routinely had to try and break open tanks with, plasma guns and melter guns, it was fine until I came across some Johnny Rambo guard player who actually would then give me a really difficult time, because I was every time I had to roll that one dice to get the melter gun through, I inevitably didn't roll the 4+, I rolled the 1 to 3. So it can, now obviously Dark Eldar do have ways around it. I think it's Obsidian Rose is one of the cult traits that they can take, which allows them to, yes, of course there are ways around it, but by and large, some of the meta things we're seeing at the moment, we're seeing more of a focus on things like Dark Technomancy, liquefiers, which are horrifying. We're seeing witches and succubuses with razor flails and between 40 and 60 attacks. That's right, 60, not 16, 60. Go and look at the combo, it's insane. But that's not the point of this video. The point is that, like I said, Dark Eldar, their strength tends to cap out at strength 8. Now, yes, they are AP -4. Or AP -3 on some of their, I think Heat Lancers are AP -3. But the Dark Lancers are AP -4. So they're cutting straight through your armour. I'm not denying that. I'm also not denying the fact that you know, they're flat damage weapons, D3 plus 3, D6 plus 2, they are going to make mincemeat of Russes. I'm not denying that. But Russes are cheap. They are still very, very spammable. For your standard Lehman Russ with just a good old battle cannon, and not even a battle cannon, you know, like anything, like, you know, because don't forget, executioner plasma cannons are perfectly good against Dark Eldar. They're just as good as taking a battle cannon, but they're cheaper, you know. So taking things like your basic Lehman Russ, which only costs what, 140 points, and then you slap on a heavy bolter, it's 155 points, and if you take a certain turret weapon, that's it. You're spending between 155 and 160 points to get 12 wounds of toughness 8 on the field. Now, that's pretty good. You can spend easily between, you know, your 3 tank commanders. If you don't go nuts on the sponsons, you know, you get your 3 tank commanders onto the field. They're 175 points. You've got to add that, you know, like I said, 20 points, let's say, for like either a demolisher cannon or a battle cannon and then the heavy bolter. So look at 195 points. Well, you take 3 of those bozos, and you're looking at, okay, that's only like 600 points, less than 600 points. Okay, well then let's take another 3 regular Lehman Russes. Okay, so that's only, what I said, 155 points. So 150, because 195, 150. So what, you're looking at another 450 points, roughly. So for 1,050 points, you're turning it with 6 pieces of armour. Then you slap in your 2 full payload manticores. Fuck it, make it 3. One of them won't have full payload. That's another 400, less than 450 points. That leaves you with 500 points left over. Well, guess what? You've got your HQ sorted. All of those heavy supports we've talked about. If you're squatting up your Lehman Russes, you can take those in a single battalion in the heavy support slots. That only needs a bunch of infantry to screen yourself out, and just left the stage a bunch of conscripts or a bunch of infantry squads. Now you might want to drop 1 manticore to get, you know, 3 more infantry squads roughly. But the point is that, you know, you've got 500 points left over. You could easily get yourself 100 infantry and still be in a single battalion. You know, you could take 3 blobs of conscripts with 30 men in each. That's 100 infantry. You could spread it out a little bit and take a mixture of infantry squads. Well, obviously it's 90 infantry, but you've still got 50 points left over to get another infantry squad before anyone, you know, says anything. My point is that you can turn up to the field of battle as guard with 100 infantry who are just there to screen and get eaten by witches. Like, sorry guys, but that's your job. You might as well lather yourself in mustard and ketchup and just let the witches just like devour you. It's okay. That's what you're there for. You're doing it for the Emperor. And in the meantime, the tanks turn around and blast the crap out of them. And you're fielding 8 pieces of armour. And the Dark Eldar, they might fly up and in one turn delete 3 pieces of armour. If you want to go and look at a good example of the firepower that Dark Eldar have available to themselves, go and look at that Tabletop Tactics battle report when it was Death Guard versus Dark Eldar. And the Death Guard had 6 pieces of armour, 3 Defilers and 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. Now they lost 3 pieces of armour in one turn. Okay, but bear in mind, Defilers are toughness 7, I believe. There might be some, I could be wrong there. But the point is that Defilers, they're no better, they're no, they do a 5 up at Demon Save, don't get me wrong, but they're not reducing damage. But the point is that if the Dark Eldar are able to kill 3 Defilers, then they're probably able to kill 3 Lehman Russes relatively easily. Okay, but that's okay. That's fine because, as we've discussed, you're turning it with 3 tank commanders, 3 Lehman Russes, and 3 manticores. Now, admittedly, the manticores aren't toughness 8. Don't get me wrong, but they're out of line of sight, so they're okay. But the point is that the Lehman Russes, the enemy can turn up, take out 3 Lehman Russes, and you're like, okay, I still have 6 tanks left over. I am now, and my riposte. Okay, is it going to work every time? Is it going to be easy? Am I saying this is how you beat Dark Eldar? No. I'm not saying you're guaranteed to win this way. What I am saying is that a blip in the shield, in the invulnerable shield that is the Dark Eldar. If you can imagine the Dark Eldar right now are like from the, what was it, 2000 and whatever film, War of the Worlds, with the tripods, with the big ass shields. And like nothing can get through the shields. And then at the end, spoiler alert, the birds can get through the shields and they're like, ah, the shields, yeah. Well, look, we are like the little birds getting through the shield, but no one else can. I'm totally, by the way, that's not really how it works. I know people who love that film will be like, oh, that's not how it happened. But the point is imagine we're the birds, we're the first people that maybe found that blip, have noticed that blip. And maybe, I keep saying it, like Guard could be in this really good position to smash Dark Eldar. I could be totally wrong because, you know, I am only human. But the point is that you might be saying, well, why would you turn it with basic Lehman Russes? Okay, let me spend, I didn't want to spend this on this video, but let me take 5 more minutes max to drill down into the specifics of how I would turn up to this engagement. Okay. 1, 3 tank commanders. Goes without saying. Okay, I would definitely stretch out into the whole. I want to. I'd take 2 battalions to make this work. That's what I'm trying to say. So you need 3 tank commanders. Slap those straight down. Okay. You then want you want 1 detachment to be Cadian and 1 detachment to be Destroyan. Okay, Guard suit, big thing. I'm going to be talking about that more in future videos. 3 tank commanders and Pask. The reason you're taking Pask is because he's a tank commander that's even crazier than a regular tank commander. You're going to put 2 of your tank commanders of Pask in 1 detachment. You're going to put 1 of your tank commanders in another detachment. Okay, it could be a patrol. It doesn't have to be a tank. It could be a patrol. You then take another regular Lehman Russ. Now, via Firstborn Pride, you can make that regular Lehman Russ ballistic skill 3+. Now, what that means is you basically have a pseudo tank commander. If you use 1 command point for inspired tactics, you can get your destroying tank commander to issue an additional order to your regular Lehman Russ. If they both then issue the order that lets them reroll 1s, you essentially have got an additional tank commander, and it costs you 2 CP a turn. That's fine because you're turning up to the field of battle with 10 CP plus, and Guard don't have a huge amount to spend their stratagems on anyway, and their CP on anyway. So straight away, you're hitting the field of battle with not only 5 Lehman Russes, you're hitting the battlefield with essentially 5 tank commanders. All right, that's already a great start. Now, yeah, Pask is a little bit more expensive, so that's fine, but you've still got 5 tank commanders there. Okay, so even if you lose 3 of them, you've still got 2 tank commanders left over. Okay, so we're having a great time. Okay, on top of that, if you put that there will cost you about 1,000 points, roughly. Okay, roughly, probably less than. Pask isn't that much of an upgrade. In fact, to be honest, this is definitely back of napkin hammer. I would love to probably do a follow-up video on this, talking in a bit more detail. But if you're dropping a whole Lehman Russ to take Pask, you probably don't need to, because Pask is only like 25 points more than a regular tank commander. So you could probably still take an additional Lehman Russ on top of that. But obviously that would be a basic bitch Russ at that point. But you could still turn it with 6 pieces of heavy armor there. So we're talking 5 tank commanders, maybe an extra random Lehman Russ there, 6 pieces of armor, no problem whatsoever. Then you take your 2 to 3 manticores, and you've got 9 pieces of armor on the field battle, and you've still got about 100 infantry, and you're still doing all this for 2,000 points. Okay. And the vast majority, you don't have to take those manticores either. If you're like, you know what, I just want to flood the field of battle with toughness 8, then, well, I highly recommend you do take the manticores, okay? And I highly recommend you take lots of indirect fire, because what Dark Eldar love to do, especially in these new terrain mad boards that we're seeing with WTC and terrain going mad, what Dark Eldar love to do is to hide their skinny transports turn 1. Well, you know what? If you want to have enough manticores that you can blast the crap out of their transports that are trying to hide. That's what you need to do. And then the enemy comes forward, they jump out, they murder 50 of your infantry in 1 turn. Okay, and they take out 3 of your Lehman Russes in 1 turn. And you sit there with a big shit-eating grin on your face, because you just turn around and you're like, I still got 50 infantry. So you've got another line to get through. Oh, and FYI, I've still got 3 Lehman Russes, probably all tank commander grade or equivalent. And I still have 3 manticores on top of that. Okay, the key is just to go as efficient and strip down as cheap as possible. You don't need, some people are saying, what about sponsors, what about this, what about that? Okay, you can take sponsons, but bear in mind, Dark Eldar will kill your tank just as easily if it's got sponsons or not. So you might as well make it as cheap as possible and take more of them. And also, second point to take into account, it doesn't actually take a huge amount to kill a Dark Eldar transport. You know, a basic tank, a tank commander with no upgrades has a good chance of doing serious damage to a Dark Eldar transport. I haven't done the math hammer. I'll hold my hands up. If anyone else has done the math hammer, they can do. But let's just eyeball this for 1 second. Okay, firstly, there's one way of looking at this. Take a tank commander, he's got a demolisher cannon, spend 1 CP on the stratagem for the greater good, I can't remember what it's called off my head, that lets you get full shots against an enemy vehicle. 12 demolisher cannon shots, please. Hitting on that enemy vehicle, you're going to be hitting with 8 of your shots. Rerolling 1s, oh thanks, let's say I hit with 9 of my shots then. Then you're wounding on, admittedly Dark Raiders have gone up to 6 now, but you're still wounding on 3s. You've got 9 wounds, you've got 9 shots through, that's 6 wounds. Okay, then they're going to save a third of them. Okay, so that's they save a third of them. That's not too bad. Then, how much damage are you going to do? Well, it's 4d6 with an average of 3.5 damage, so 14 damage. Congratulations! For 1 CP, 1 tank commander guarantees 1 dead enemy raider. Now you might be thinking, okay, well you can't do that every single time. It's like, that's true, you can't do that every single time. Okay, but don't forget, Cadians have the order pound into dust, which allows them to re-roll the random number of shots when they find their battle cannon, or whatever cannon it is, the turret weapon. Okay, so you're like, alright, you're actually pretty much guaranteed to get 8 or 9 shots from the other two, from the other tank commanders. We're not even taking into account heavy bolters at this stage. You might say heavy bolters, Morning Glory. When every single tank has got a heavy bolter, and they're all damage 2, and Dark Eldar don't have a way of ignoring damage 2 now, and you're hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, don't sniff at the heavy bolters. When you add all the heavy bolters up together, things, you know, let's say you've got 3 Lehman Russ firing them or 4 Lehman Russes firing them, that's between 9 and 12 heavy bolter shots, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. That is enough to strip off a couple of wounds here and there. It's enough to take off the top of my head. I think you like to get 4 wounds through. What was that? 4 Lehman Russes, 12 shots. Again, 8 hits, re-rolling, that's 9. This time really wounding with 3s, 3 of them, but still, you're going to get 3 through. They're going to pass 1 of them. That's 4 damage. See, off the top of my head, that's 4 damage that should be going through just from your heavy bolters. Well, you know what? Raiders have only got, what, 10 wounds each? You've taken 40% of the wounds off a raider just using your spare heavy bolters. Just using your spare heavy bolters. So, it's definitely a thing. Lehman Russ spam is definitely a thing. I've got more videos coming up about the old Lehman Russ. But look, if vehicles are the way to go, you know, most marine lists that I'm seeing these days, guys, are turning up. They're getting lazy. They're getting lazy. They're turning up with like 1 or 2 squads of eradicators. A lot of marine lists are relying on other stuff. You know what? It's like, you know, people aren't expecting toughness 8 vehicles. So I think Lehman Russes, they are a counter to Dark Eldar. Are they a strong counter? Look, I'm not like I said before, I'm not guaranteeing if you turn up with 9 Lehman Russes that you're gonna win the game. I'm not guaranteeing that. I mean, I wish I could. What I'm giving you guys is a flicker of hope. It's a fighting chance. It's a goddamn, if you are facing Dark Eldar and you're getting your face punched in time and time again, and you really don't want to go down the pure infantry route, I can get that. I can understand that. Well, guess what? Sometimes you just need to apply a pressure point to the game and just break it. And if toughness 8 armor is a way of defeating the Dark Eldar, then you might want to be turning up with 6 Lehman Russes and 3 Manticores. Anyway, that's all for this week. I knew this video it's only meant to be a 10-minute video. It's gone on to 20 minutes. Oh, god damn it. But anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you like what you've seen today, please consider heading on over to the Patreon page. I'm really transparent with the whole Patreon thing. There's a link down in the description below. All the money that I get for Patreon gets reinvested back into the channel. I use it for things like going to tournaments so that I can keep a finger on the meta. I like to try and go to 2-day tournaments, proper grand tournaments. That helps me, fund, hotels and stuff like that. I'm really transparent with the whole thing. New equipment, new terrain. I've just done a huge project, redoing a whole new dedicated YouTube battle report studio, the battle bunker for the channel. And all the Patreon money, like I said, goes into projects like that. Massive thank you to my Patreon supporters. I know this video has been very high energy, but just to bring it down for a second to get sincere, massive thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. I hope you guys know that it is truly thanks to you guys that this channel has had any success whatsoever. You guys are fantastic, and we just keep going from strength to strength thanks to the support of my awesome and just totally loyal and very generous Patreon supporters. There's no tiers, there's no levels, there's no $20 you get to have a handshake with me or anything like that. It's just whatever you want to give. $1, $20, it doesn't matter to me. I'm genuinely just humbled and just grateful for any support that I can get. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.